Hey, howdy! Back at it again with some more Tukey. I finally have a spare moment to myself. You might notice the time is a little different than usual. It's 10 a.m. because technically I'm supposed to have class right now, but because there was an assignment published, the professor called off today. I just say, like, you can go work on the assignment. If you want, you can come in and I can answer questions for you, but otherwise, it's a free day. So I'm just gonna be chilling here. I've got a daily, I've got a weekly, I've got a vending machine to go to, and I've also got some yapping. I've got some fun things to talk about today. So we got Autumn Pastel Plains, Psychedelic Letter World, which somehow I always end up along what is the name of these? Journey's Road, yeah. I keep ending up along this path. It's kind of hilarious. But it's a good path, I don't mind. And the vending machine, that is obviously Dream Park. So that's going to be simple enough. Let's start with Pastel Plains. It's been a while since I've been over here. So, I mean, things have been chill on my front. I've just been working on my big ridiculous April Fool's project. We've got, what do we have? 2.5 weeks until April? So I've still got time. I've got a lot of work to do, but I'm confident that I'll be able to do, like, a good chunk of it by the time I have to stop. And the benefit of the project that I'm working on is that the scale is pretty relative. And also, I fear no matter how much work I do, I'm going to get people in the comments saying, do more, do more, do more. So I'm not going to hold myself to, like, Ancient Blue Battlefield. Whoa, hang on. I haven't seen this. Let's peek in Autumn Pastel Plains, then I want to check that out. Yeah, because this is... Right, this is the camera. This visual. Does it feel overdone at this point to say that the pixel art in this entire game is fucking incredible? Like, from, like, a vast majority of the authors, some of the most gorgeous pixel art I've ever seen in my life. Let's, like, take a minute to appreciate it. Because, like... Especially as I'm someone who's not incredible at pixel art. Like, I'm pretty good at it. I've proven to myself when I was working on my own personal projects that I'm, like, actually kind of good at art. Not amazing, but, like, enough that I can sketch out concepts, but, like, this art is so good. And this might just be a scan. Like, passed through some, like, Photoshop filters to make it look pixelated, but it looks so nice. Oh my god, like, it looks so good. But yeah, but by the nature of the thing that I'm working on, I'm gonna get a bunch of people in the comments saying, oh, you should add this website, you should add this thing. And if I've learned anything from making Isaac mods, I know that Isaac, like, people who comment on the workshop are not, oh, it's this place. Okay, this isn't, I have been here before. If I know anything about the people that comment on the Isaac workshop, is that they kind of just want to see the puppet dance. Like, they don't really care how it's made. They kind of just want to see cool things happen, and that's respectable. But at a certain point, I have to cut myself off for their sake, because I'm not spending, like, months into years working on something unless I either make enough money that I can do it sustainably, or I have more than just myself to work on it with, because right now it is literally just me. Maybe someday. I know that working as a team on a project is a whole other wheelhouse and has a whole bunch of other internal stressors. that make it more difficult than just, I want to work on this with you. It could be fun to do some collaborative projects someday. Maybe I'll get... Well, one of these days I get to see if I can get roped into doing, like, Fiend Folio or something. Some, like, similarly scaled project. Also, that's interesting. This did not have a... I don't think this had a marking before. I like that change, actually. I am more than fine if Mapsuki wants to make their content a little bit less ambiguous, because that's always the biggest problem I've had with their stuff. Because the concepts on display in their maps are extremely cool. It's just... sometimes I get a little tired of how brutally ambiguous some of these authors' worlds can get. Okay, so I know it's here. It is green next to blue. There you are. So where do I pop out? Let me just try and leave and see where I end up. Yeah, so this is the river right here. So... Oh, it's just right there. I misjudged that. I forgot you pop out at the bottom. But yeah, the only thing of Mapsuki's world that I think is really egregious is like the False Guardian and Guardian Trial stuff, because that gets really, really esoteric. And I mean, I dig that. Those are... The False Guardian Trials are cool, but... I don't know how quite to describe it, but this is a common... It's a common thing that pops up whenever I do stuff like this. Is... The expectation of an objective makes a lot of these maps harder to enjoy. Because something that always comes to mind, and this has always been like my case study for being forced to do something that you would ordinarily like. Where back in high school, my 10th grade literature class, like looking back on it, it was pretty scuffed. It's like a lot of changes had to be made last minute. This is way before COVID. It was just the way that things worked out at the time. But things had to be changed pretty drastically because there was like a change of hands with some of the other people in the English department, and there was like a whole bunch of other things happening in the background that I was not privy to. But it meant that a lot of the schedule for the books that we were supposed to read got upended at the last second, which means that the people that took the class literally last semester that I was friends with had a different experience of the class than I did. And you know, that happens all the time. But the reason why it's relevant here is because they were reading, they were required to read Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, which is a great book. I remember very much enjoying it when I was reading it on my own time, but that's the key word. I was reading it on my own time. What ended up happening was I was bored out of my skull in class, and my 10th grade lit professor, that sentence doesn't really work. My 10th grade literature teacher, excuse me, high school moment. She had a bookshelf with a bunch of just like random books. Some of them were stuff that she handed out on assignments, some of them she just had like randomly, and you were free, especially if you were sitting by it, to like pick out a book and start reading. You know, she's an English teacher, like, I don't know why she wouldn't be okay with that. And because, again, I was bored out of my skull, I was reading through quite a few of them. And I ended up finding Things Fall Apart naturally, read it, and really liked it. And it was quite a shock to talk to my friends, and they ended up saying that they hated the book. And I think my working theory is that the reason why they hated it was because they were forced to analyze it. And they had an objective that they were forced to achieve, and it made them resent it. It's like you're not just reading a book, you're doing an assignment. And there are situations where you can be assigned something and actually enjoy it, but after a certain amount of rigor, it just doesn't work anymore. You just end up hating it. Not even rigor, just like another example that comes to mind is in 12th grade, jumping forward a little bit, I ended up reading Frankenstein in British literature, and that was a that was a fun time. Frankenstein's a pretty dry read, but it was such a low-stakes class that even though it was assigned work, it really didn't feel like it. We came in, we talked about a book we read, that was about the extent of it. And, I mean, the reason why it was so chill was because everyone in that room was mentally checked out. Like, the professor was about to retire, everyone in that room was a senior. Everyone in that room was a senior, including the professor. We were all kind of just relaxing. We all went in with the expectation of, like, if we don't do much in this class, that's fine. This was before COVID. Because COVID kind of came in as a wrecking ball for me. And sometimes that was a good thing, sometimes that was a bad thing. What ended up happening for me was COVID ended up hitting in the spring semester of my senior year of high school. Which, I mean, there's not really a better way to say it. It just sucks. It sucked a lot, and it sucked a lot more for a lot of people. But I don't know. I was genuinely very happy in high school, and there were a lot of people that I really liked, and it sucked to have something like that come in and wreck it. I still talk to some of those people I still talk to some of those people to this day. So it's not like it completely obliterated my social life, but it definitely put a dampener on it. And then it carried over into college, because as it happens, I was from a hot state going into college, I actually forget if the state that I went to undergrad in was a hot state itself. I don't believe it was. But I came in and then immediately had to quarantine. And then after quarantining, every single class was online. And then like a year went by, I decided I wanted to do computer science, and then quickly realized that the people that usually do computer science are some of the most introverted people in the college. Which meant that I wasn't exactly going to be making friends, not without putting in a lot of extra elbow grease. At the end of the day, I just opted for making friends with the people on the floor of my dorm who were not CS students, and also just reconnecting with my friends from high school, so it all worked out. But at the same time, I'm kind of thankful for COVID. I know it almost feels like a terrible thing to say, but just given my own personal circumstances. I got this idea that it wormed itself into my brain that somehow I needed to not slack. For the longest time, not to say I was an overachiever, because oftentimes I was the opposite, but I often felt guilty about... I don't know. I often felt guilty about doing things... Let me turn down the volume a little bit. I often felt guilty about taking the easy way out. In part because my parents were always super gung-ho about, like, don't slack off, you either pay now or you pay later. That kind of, like, mentality. Which is a good mentality sometimes. A lot of the time it just leads to stressing you the hell out, which is what it ended up doing for me. And I made it through on the other end, and admittedly that advice did help, but sure did a hell of a did a hell of work on my mental state in the process. But for the longest time, I had to shake off this notion that if I wasn't being super active, I was letting myself down. Like I wasn't achieving my true potential. And it took until like college, like mid to late college, for me to really realize that I could cut loose. Because as it happens, people don't really care. And this was especially true when I did my internship. This ended up shocking me. Was after a certain point, people really do not give a shit what you did in undergrad or even in graduate. Hell, I've like the more I talk with my coworkers, because this internship has turned into a full-time job, and I'm so excited for this summer because of that. But the more I talk with my coworkers, the more I realize they really, not only did they not care what I did before getting this job, they don't really care what they did. And it can lead to some very funny moments of like talking with like an older coworker of mine who's a super sweet guy, very like kind of, I don't even want to say grizzled. He's very much a dad. Um, but I ended up misjudging him at first and was, like trying to like explain computer science stuff to him. And apparently, he did his undergraduate in computer science, and I actually had no idea. Which is dope. And it's a tricky thing to shake off too, because I almost did it again. I was literally about to say this is hard to explain to people who are not in computer science, but the thing I'm about to explain is that in-group phenomenon is really hard to shake. Computer science contains some of the most callous people you will ever meet in your life, and if you know anything about big tech, you know that that's true. Look at gesturing broadly to every major tech company these days. And all of the big like AI startups who think that altruism is for losers. If I could avoid Lavender Office, that would be... Oh, not Lavender Office, what am I thinking of? There's one area that has music that consistently gets copyright claimed. I don't think it's that area. Let's just roll with it. But computer science contains, like, on average, really callous people, and part of the reason for that is that education, when it comes to computer science, just sucks. Like, there's no better way to put it. It's just awful, and it's not because it's not teaching people computer science. The computer science department, at like by and large, of the places that I've been to, has done a really good job at educating people about computer science. The trouble is that there's this hidden implication, and the more you take CS classes, the more this starts to come up. There's this hidden implication that you don't have to take any other kinds of courses, and it's reflected in the course load. There is almost no cross-disciplinary courses, like across my entire time doing computer science. I've had like 5 max. And it's genuinely such a destructive thing. Keychain collection, there you are. This is Keychain collection is the place that used to have AI music, right? I remember this. Yeah, this is. My discussion about computer science is all the more prevalent then. So it's like, I don't necessarily blame the people who major in computer science for being callous, but I feel like more people in the industry need to take a step back and educate themselves on things other than CS so that they have a better worldview. Like, if you don't learn about these things, then you're just going to keep making mistakes, and you're going to keep, frankly, making an ass of yourself. And like, there's no better time to start than now. Take classes in the humanities. Like the most fun class I ever took was not a computer science class. It was the history of the LGBT community of all things, which was a such a dope class. I love the professor. Like in all aspects, that was a deeply enjoyable class. And it wasn't CS. It was nowhere near my major. And the only reason why I even shit. Oh, wait. I remember this now. 3. Yeah. This area is super neat. And like even if you're in like not just computer science, but if you're in a different like air quotes division that doesn't care about the humanities, learn about the humanities anyway. It's fun, I swear. Go out of your way to learn about like music and the arts and history and stuff like that. I promise it'll be worth it. There we go. Whoa. This is a spooky image. I don't like that. I don't like that cat thing. I don't know what his deal is. And I feel like part of the other issue is that with computer science as well, that leads to this callousness is the like jobbing atmosphere. Not just getting jobs, but like the hustle. That like LinkedIn go-getter culture that has like seeped its way into the industry itself, and it's just not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not a healthy view of other people. It's not a healthy view of the industry, and it just leads to a bunch of people saying nonsense and being super abrasive for no reason. It's like you don't have to be like this. You can you can do better. You can all do better. Please do better for the sake of everyone else. Oh, that's not a fun sound. Oh, oh, weird. Oh, whoa, hello. Whoa. I'm actually gonna take a picture of this with invisible on. I love this visual. It's very not to incessantly bring up other RPG Maker games. It's very Amore. God, right, this area is amazing. I don't know if it's intentional, but this area, I forgot how loud this place is. I forget if I ever said this out loud, but this area has always kind of reminded me of Garden of Treachery. I don't know if that's intentional or not. It's like area of it's like almost like a portrait gallery, just a lot of very like fast-paced, creepy visuals one after the other. Yeah. I don't know what this thing is, but I like it. This is this room in particular is so Lisa the First. Oh my God. All it needs is oh, what plays in like this specific area? It's the Royals Call, I think. It's one of the call songs. It's either Siren's Call or Royals Call. I gotta replay Lisa at some point. Ooh, very cool visual. Presumably inspired by the photograph taken of a black hole. That like orange and red and black is very striking. I wonder if that's I think that's the implication. Ooh. I don't know what this thing is doing. Oh, no kidding. I forgot this leads to Testament. This is a very fun place. It's got like the map storage and a portal and it's got like everything. I don't really want to use that phone. I'm concerned that that is a well, you know what? If it is a, okay, good. I was about to say, if this is a Dream Apartments connection, now that Sugar Road connection isn't a thing anymore, like that will make this. It makes it much easier to just say, I want to use this. I'm just going to use this phone connection because I don't have to worry about making it Sugar Road anymore because Sugar Road is just there all the time now. This is the sign in the mask shop, right? I think I recognize that. This is Polygon, right? Yeah, okay. This is kind of me playing with toys at this point. I've already done most of the things I wanted to do today. And I've been in there before, right. It's Worm Labyrinth that I think this specific glyph is for. Whoa! Whoa, oh my god! I haven't seen this. They turned my ass into a mask wardrobe. Sure, that'll go in the 4th slot. really cool. Alright. Well, that'll probably do it for me. This has been fun. It's always a pleasure to come back to this. Always a pleasure. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Thanks so much for watching, y'all.